Hey folks, how you doing? I want to make a short video that talks about voice leading or part writing the root position 5/7 to 1 progression, which is very common, of course. This will just be a supplement to what we've already talked about in our theory class. I just thought a short video would be a nice addition to what we do in class. So here it goes. I'm going to start us out in D major, 2 sharps. So our 5/7 chord is an A7 chord. We've got A, E, G, and C sharp, root 5th, 7th, and 3rd. Now let's voice lead this into a 1 chord without really thinking too much about it. Let's just do it instinctively, and I think you're going to find that we run into a problem, which is very common. So if we go to a 1 chord, that would be D major. So the bass I'm going to take down to D. The leading tone, which is the C sharp up here, we'll take that up to Do in the soprano. As we've discussed, the 7th of the 5 chord really wants to resolve down by step, so let's do that. So far everything seems pretty clear. So looking at my 1 chord, I've got a root, a 3rd, and then another root up here on the D. So the only thing missing is the 5th, which is A. So we're going to take our tenor, without really thinking too much about it, just fill in that missing 5th to complete our 1 chord, and we're done. But we actually have a pretty big problem. When we did that, we created parallel 5ths with the bass and the tenor. This will always be the case. You'll have some sort of parallel 5th problem, either just like this, or perhaps consecutive 5ths by contrary motion, which is also bad. You're going to have one of these problems when you part write 5/7 to 1 in root position, and both chords are complete. If you do it this way, you're going to have a problem. So we need to find a way to avoid this. So here we go. There's a couple ways to do it. The most common, let's call that plan 1, is to omit a note from one of these chords, either the 5/7 or the 1 chord. We're going to leave out a note. So let's start with our same 5/7 chord that we had. Now we're going to go to a 1 chord. The bass jumps down to D. The leading tone goes up to D. The 7th goes down to Mi. Everything is the same as before. But now we're going to take that tenor, which was on Re. Instead of jumping down to A, we're going to just take it right down to Do. So we actually have 3 roots in the 1 chord. Do, 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 and 1/3. So it's an incomplete 1 chord. There's no 5th, and that's fine. So in our Koskapane textbook, they sometimes put a little I, just to show that that chord is incomplete. And our 5/7 chord was totally complete, so they put a C for complete. So here we have it, 5/7 to 1. 1 chord is complete, the other one is incomplete, there's no 5th, and the voice leading is perfect. The leading tone went up by step to Do, the 7th went down, everything's fine. And the fact that there's no 5th is no problem at all. As I mentioned, you can also omit the 5th from the 5/7 chord. So let's try that. It's going to look a little bit different. Let's have 2 roots, the 3rd of the chord, which is C sharp, and the 7th. So again, I've left out the 5th of the chord, which is E. It's just not there. The tenor used to have the E, but now it's doubling the bass on an A. So A, A, G, C sharp. This is incomplete. And because it's incomplete, when we go to the 1 chord, we can let that 1 chord be complete. As long as one is incomplete, one is complete, we're fine. So this one's incomplete, we're going to go to a full 1 chord. It has all the notes in it. A goes up to D. This A can stay right where it is. The G goes down to F sharp, and the C sharp goes up to D. So we have a full 1 chord, and there's no voice leading problems. And that was all possible by omitting the 5th from the 5/7 chord. So just to wrap up, plan 1 is you simply leave out the 5th from one of the chords, but not both. That works. There's another way. If you insist on having 2 chords that are both complete, there is a way to do that. And let me demonstrate that for you. Go back to our A chord. Okay, it's a different voicing, but the same notes, A, C sharp, E, G. It's totally complete. They're all there. What's important to note is that in this optional way of doing it, call it plan 2, the leading tone is in a middle voice. We've got the leading tone in the tenor in this case, not the soprano. Watch this. So we can go to a 1 chord again. A goes up to D in the bass. Again, the 7th always resolves down to the 3rd. This E will go down to D. And this leading tone, instead of going up to D like we might normally, we're going to let it jump down and grab the A. So by doing that, we have a complete 1 chord also. Both chords are completely full. Complete. And it was made possible by the leading tone not going up to Do, but instead jumping down to So. Our textbook, I think, calls this a frustrated leading tone. Frustrated because the tendency of that note is, of course, to go up to Do. Ti-do. But instead it goes Ti-so. And when it's in a middle voice, it's fine. There's no problem with that. So you have two basic ways to handle this voice leading problem. One is to leave out the 5th of the chord, of either chord. And the other way is to make sure your leading tone is in a middle voice and then pop it down to So. And if you do all of those things, we should avoid those problems. In your textbook, in your workbook, for homework over the weekend, let's just do one together on this video. I'm looking at page 100 in your workbook. And if we go to number 2 in the workbook, we are in C minor. So 3 flats. The first chord you see is a 5/7, it's a G chord, voiced like this. And as the book indicates at the bottom, it's complete. There's a little C in the parentheses. That means that all the notes are there. And it's asking you to go to a 1 chord that is also complete. And we know that because they put the C, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, I hope you can, the little C underneath the 1. So how do we handle that? If both chords are complete, we have to do that plan 2 idea that I just illustrated, where the leading tone is frustrated. So we could, we'll get to that. Let's take care of everything else. The G goes up to the C. The D up here would most likely go down to C. This F is the 7th. It goes down to May. And the leading tone, instead of going up to C, will go down to G. So there you have a correctly handled 5/7 to 1 in C minor with a frustrated leading tone that allows both chords to be complete. We could do one more, which is number 3. And then I think after this, you should be all set, ready to go on the rest of this page. Number 3, back in D major. And this is actually, I think, almost identical, or identical to what I started with on the video, so that's okay. Number 3, it says the 5/7 chord is complete, which it is, and then they want an incomplete one chord. So I'll take the bass down to D. We're in D major, A to D. The tenor will go to D. The seventh resolves down to Mi, as always. And the leading tone will go up to C, to D, as we would expect. And that's critical, especially when the leading tone is in the soprano. It really has no choice but to go up to D. So what we have is an incomplete one chord, which is exactly what the authors asked for number 3. Okay, I think that's about it. The rest of the page is a lot of the same type of stuff. Just pay attention to the complete, incomplete, and it's a bit repetitive. It's a lot of examples on this page, but doing a few of these will be good practice, and the speed will come very quickly after you do quite a few of these. All right, good luck.